Thanks, guys. I don't know about you, Greg, but I thought Heather did a great job.
She did do a great job.
And on the subject of great pros, we love that we're partnered with the Hero program. It's such a great way to get these home energy efficient upgrades done in your home. And we have a Hero registered contractor, Mary Jean Anderson, with Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me. It's fun to work with like-minded professionals.
Well, thank you.
Well, it's great to have you on today, and I know you're going to talk about common plumbing problems and how to avoid them. What are you holding in your hand there?
Water pressure regulator, something we can talk about. We talked earlier about the most common, people want to know what is the most common leak that you see in a home, or what's the most common plumbing problem you have in a home.
And do all homes have regulators?
No, they don't. And that's what I want to talk about, because the most common problems we see in a home for plumbing issues are either leaks, running toilet, dripping faucet, or a flood, and the washing machine hose pops off when you're on vacation.
And why is a regulator so important?
It's important because it's just like when you go to the doctor. What is the first thing they do when you walk in? They check your blood pressure, because you might be there for eye problems, for kidney problems, for heart problems, but everything revolves around your blood
They
pressure.
always check that,
And just
yeah.
like your
Right.
body, the city water pressure changes, the pressure changes at all times.
Exactly. And so think about that pressure coming into your home, and keep in mind the whole blood pressure thing. It's the same thing. Having high blood pressure over high water pressure, like blood pressure, over 65 pounds per square inch, 65 psi, you've got this great pressure on the solenoids in your dishwasher, on those old washing machine
so that's
hoses
what
that
causes them to
people
burst.
forget to, yes. And then, on all of your faucets, your piping, everything has this undue pressure. And so what happens when you go to sleep at night, because that's when your floods happen, or you're on vacation, you're not using your facilities, the neighbors aren't using their facilities, water pressure builds up, and you know the story.
And so I want to talk about vacations and your tips for that, but to wrap up the regulator, if you don't have a regulator, you really need to have one installed, and it's not that expensive. And long-term maintenance, you should have your regulators checked, because they will fail over time, right?
Yes. Remember, they're absorbing all that pressure that's coming in from the municipalities.
And I was shocked, by the way. I was just going to say real quick, I was shocked that how inexpensive that is to have that installed.
Yeah, it is, and there's heavy brass. This is a great part, there's some money in this. So they're not, and the long-term savings on putting something like this in for a few $100s is phenomenal.
Right.
And think about just the water savings, going back to Hero. And by the way, Hero this is part of the Hero program.
That's approved.
Because it's approved, because they know the water volume you're saving. If you can get enough water volume coming into your home where you're satisfied with
It's 60 to 80 range, right? Pounds per square inch.
Well, 55 to 65 is normal. And once you're getting over 80, now you're putting real undue stress on the system, and that's when you start to have the problems.
So I wanted you to give the tips, because people go on vacation, it's the summertime. What do you recommend that homeowners do before they leave on vacation?
Turn off their water. It's just that simple. Think about it. You're not there. You're not flushing toilets. And the one thing that we forget about, that we don't see, is the angle stops under the sink and the washing machine hoses. So you go out of town, the pressure's building up in that system, nobody's flushing, you come home to a flooded house. And this is something that when it floods, it floods.
We were out for 6 weeks when it happened to me.
A month, 6 weeks is not unusual, because the whole house goes.
And I might add, too, that angle stops under the sink, which is something a homeowner can shut off. The water is hard in San Diego, and if you have a leak and you haven't maintained your angle stops, sometimes they need to be replaced. You may be stuck and unable to turn the water off from the source, and then you have to go to the main to turn it off.
It happens all the time. I'm telling you, this is very common. We see this every single day, and it's scary when a woman's. I did a test once, and 78% of people I asked, women, did not know where to shut their water off outside. So they're calling you, and they're in an absolute panic, and they want to talk to somebody that can get them to turn off their water, because it's flooding, and there's no way they can shut off under the sink, and you're directing them through their house.
I want to say something here, so the ladies don't feel bad.
Okay.
Until I started doing the Approved Home Pro Show and talked to guys like Greg and,
You
and
didn't
ladies
either.
like I didn't either.
Okay.
No kidding. That's why we were out for
Okay.
6 weeks.
Okay.
And besides doing great service and maintenance, I'm sure you educate homeowners so that they know if they need to shut off the water, where to go.
We do. I mean, the first thing any professional should do when they come to your house from a plumbing company is check your water pressure, just like the doctor. Very first thing. And then they absolutely should take the time to show them where their emergency shutoff is, and even tag it. Show them how to use it, because it's so important when that day comes And, you know, unfortunately, it happens a lot more than people think.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we have a fan question for you, Mary Jean. We have kids and silverware. Sometimes it makes it into the garbage disposal without anyone noticing. Besides destroying spoons, are we going to shorten the life of our disposal?
If you shut it off right away, no. No.
Okay.
I mean, you can break a blade. You know, the worst thing that'll happen is it'll freeze up and there's a reset button underneath. But if it's on for a period of time, it can absolutely burn up that
If it
motor.
starts smoking, then you might be in trouble.
All right, Mary Jean
Absolutely.
Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure.
Real
Thank you.
quick now, the HERO program, that's how you can get to know these folks. Just call 844-GO-4HERO, that's 844-GO, the number 4HERO, or approvedhomepros.com/HERO. Find out about that water pressure regulator. A few $100 could save you thousands. Check it out through the HERO program.